I'm G, and welcome to the next level. And I have hit 3,000 subscribers, everybody. And first of all, I want to say a real quick thank you to all of you that have been here with me through this entire journey from beginning to the end. 3,000 subscribers. So, as promised, here is a lovely Q&A full with multiple awesome questions that people like you have submitted in. So about a week and a half ago, I sent in a request for people on Twitter and on Facebook to ask me questions for today's Q&A, and I got some incredible responses. So let's just jump right into it. So without further ado, today's Q&A, and here's the first question. So here we go.
Hey G, congrats on 3K, bud. My question for you. So, let's say you're starting off your collection brand new, you own no games, and a guy comes up to you and says, hey, I'll give you a full collection of one of these systems, but you can't have either of the other two. You can never own a single game from the others. So would you take the PS1, the Vita, or the Genesis? What's your pick? Again, congrats, bud, and have a good one.
Hey Jim, thanks for the question, man, and thanks for your content as well. You guys have been awesome. But as far as, man, why you gotta ask me a question like that? Because you already know what the answer is. It's Genesis. I mean, the thing is that, look, I love the PlayStation 1. I love the PlayStation Vita. As it is when it comes to this kind of console generation and the generations before it, for the most part, I've been kind of a Sony guy, kind of bounced back and forth between Sony and Microsoft. But it always comes back to the Genesis. You know, it's the system that made me. It's the system that got me where I am today. It's the system that's made my character. It's what's made this channel. I mean, theoretically, that's what it is. So, I mean, if I have to pick between the other ones, it's no contest. It's the Genesis, man.
Hey dude, congrats on the 3K subscribers. My question for you was, what made you want to start making YouTube videos? And if you had any tips for beginner people who want to start making videos. Thanks!
Hey Pion, thanks for the question. Chaos Creators Unite. So, what made me decide to start making videos on YouTube? Well, I would probably say it really just stems from the fact that I've kind of always wanted to be a writer and a filmographer my entire life. I mean, ever since high school and college, that's kind of been at the forefront of really what I've wanted to do. And then coming around the early days of YouTube, and watching people like the Angry Video Game Nerd, the Nostalgia Critic, Captain S, the original Screw Attack guys, and just watching their content and loving their content. And I still watch their content today for those who are still making them. I still love watching their content, and that's what inspired me to really get started. Now, of course, I mean, there wasn't really something that was, you know, immediate. Like, I'm gonna do this now. It took, honestly, too many years for me to get started. But as far as getting started, really the best advice that I could give to you and to anybody that's really looking to get started on YouTube is to just get started. I mean, really, it comes down to the fact that we all, and myself included, it's like we can all just kind of get hung up of, oh, I don't know what people are going to think about me. Are they going to like my style? Are they going to like what I have to say? Oh, I don't have the best camera. I don't have the right lighting equipment. I don't have a green screen. I don't have Just do it. That's really where it comes down to. Just, if you have to do it on your phone, if you don't have a lighting kit, if you don't have anything like that, because at the end of the day, when it comes to YouTube, you can have all the fancy stuff in the world, but if your content is only and you're not really heartily into it, then yeah, you're just gonna kind of spin your wheels. And trust me on this, your first video, it's gonna be rough. It's gonna be cringy. You're gonna look back at it many years later and you're just gonna be like, oh, what the hell is my problem? What did I do with this? Trust me, it'll be fun. Like, the more you do it, the better that you do it. But you won't know until you just jump in and get started. That's really the best way that I could say it to it. Is just trust in yourself and you'll go far.
Hey G, it's just Shane aka Steady Sphere here. Super congrats on 3,000 subs. That's just amazing and honestly well deserved and more. My question, I wanted to try and ask you something a bit different because obviously you're well known for Sega and Nintendo, but I know you also happen to own an Xbox One because I remember you featuring it on your best controllers video. So my sort of question is, what is Xbox to you? What's your favourite Xbox only game? And what's your favourite Xbox memory? Again, congrats on the 3,000 subs, and I look forward to your Q&A.
Hey Shane, thanks for the question. And by the way, if you haven't seen his channel yet, his channel is excellent. Steady Sphere. Great channel. One thing I will say, what is Xbox to me? The thing is that, like I mentioned earlier, I kind of bounce back and forth between PlayStation and Xbox, but I always seem to kind of get my way back into Xbox. Like even just now, like with this console generation, like jumping into it, like I was just not about Xbox at all. When Xbox's first generation, I wasn't really about Xbox at all. I went from PS1 to PS2 and vice versa. It was the Xbox 360 generation. That was the one that really got me to be a believer in Xbox. Like I was gung-ho Xbox 360. Like when it was, just with the achievement system, Xbox Live, and just the variety of different games that there were for it. I mean, that's really where I kind of came down to it. And even now I'm like wholeheartedly into Xbox One. I mean, I know people are like, oh, Xbox One, but I'm like, you know what? As I've mentioned before, I love the controller. I have so many great friends on Xbox Live, and it's an absolute blast. And when PSO2 drops, I'll see you on with Xbox, but as far as my favorite Xbox game, I know I was just talking about how the Xbox 360 really was my favorite, but I can't really say that my favorite Xbox game is an Xbox 360 game. It's an original Xbox game, and of course, it's a Sega game. It's Jet Set Radio Future. I mean, and it was really hard for me to pick. When I had to think about this, it was really hard for me to pick between Jet Set Radio Future and Panzer Dragoon Order, because they're both just outstanding, excellent games. But for me, Jet Set Radio Future was really a sequel that unfortunately didn't really get the love that it really deserved. It's an excellent game. If you see it, go grab it. If you've never played the sequel to Jet Set Radio before, you really need to go get it. Sega, please remake Jet Set Radio Future. I mean, seriously. But it's an amazing game, amazing soundtrack, excellent graphics. It's a lot of fun to play. It's just a lot cleaner, a lot easier to play than the original Jet Set Radio. So yeah, favorite memory though, and this is where things get fun. But I'm not going to go too terribly deep into it because I actually am going to include this in a Gaming Items I'm Proud to Own video in the future. But my favorite Xbox memory comes from this. Is that, you know, when the days of Guitar Hero and Rock Band and like everything was so hot and popular. Mine really comes from this, from my Guitar Hero 2 soundtrack, well, actual controller, Guitar Hero 2 controller. But here's the thing, this isn't my controller, this is my wife's controller. Because this was actually one of the first things, when we first got together, this was one of the first pastimes that we always did together. We always played Guitar Hero 2. And even so, that was one of the things that I loved doing with her dad, you know, may you rest in peace. That was one of the things that we loved doing, and between this and the memories that we shared while playing Guitar Hero, there's a whole story behind this controller. You'll see that it's signed, but I'm not going to give that away just yet. But as far as my favorite Xbox memory goes, I probably would have to say it is that very first day that she came over to my house. We played Guitar Hero 2 into the night, and you know, it's all uphill from there. And now we're married, and really couldn't be happier. So yeah, I'd have to say that's my favorite Xbox memory. But yeah, thank you, Shane. Excellent question.
Ahoy G, this is Uncle Chunt, all the way from down under Australia. Congrats on the 3,000. That's pretty huge, man. Well done. Well deserved. Anyway, sticking with the Australian theme, I know you're a massive Sonic lover, a Sonic fan. I'm just wondering, have you played the Ty the Tasmanian Tiger series? I know it's probably like, well, of all things to ask, why would you ask me that? Well, I'm only asking because it's kind of in that mascot theme. Sonic the Hedgehog spawned off a whole lot of those mascots. I'm very curious to know if you've played them and if you're familiar with the Kickstarter that's trying to revitalize this franchise. Very curious to know. Anyway, I'm going to pour one out for you. I won't drink it on camera because YouTube, family friendly and all that kind of stuff. But just know, it's going to happen. Cheers, mate. Have a good one.
Hey, Chunt, thanks for the question, man. Ty the Tasmanian Tiger. Now, I know of Ty the Tasmanian Tiger, but to be honest, for some reason, I kind of missed it when it was coming around. And y'all know me, I'm all about the mascot characters, Sonic. I'm all about the mascot style characters, and even in that generation, I played some of the weirdest ones. Like, I played Vex, I played Taken the Power of Juju for some reason. I don't know why. For some reason, I just missed Ty the Tasmanian Tiger. Didn't he have a recent Wait, no, I'm thinking of The Legend of Kay, seeing just how similar they are. But I've heard great things about Ty, and I didn't even know there was a Kickstarter, so I'm definitely gonna have to check that out. But yeah, I've heard a lot of people say good things about Ty, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think they're backwards compatible with Xbox 360. So yeah, I might have to go check them out. So, and thanks for the recommendation, Chunt. So yeah, I'll go check it out. Thanks, man.
G'day from me to you to G to the next level. Level up to this question I'm going to ask you today on your own channel that you're going to answer for me. Hopefully. Going through your Instagram, I noticed that you do have Master System games in there. And if you have answered these questions already on your own show, I do apologize. My question is, on the top of that, what I just said right then, do you have many Master System games? Are you going for a full collection of Master System games? And when you do try to track down Master System games, what region are you going for? Because as far as I can tell, North America really didn't have a whole lot of releases for the Master System. Added bonus question to all of that. Are there games that you want on the Master System that you don't already have? Some that might be a little bit more rarer than the others. And also, like I said before, how many games do you actually have on your Master System? Okay, so anyway, before I go, someone wants to say a little something to you. It's actually kind of hard to move this. I don't know if it's supposed to be that hard or if it's just getting old like some of us around here. Anyway, hopefully you can answer my question the best you can, and I'm sure you will. So thank you and congratulations to your 3,000 subscriber count going up. And I'm sure it will just keep going up. Well, mine will most likely after this video go down.
Whew, that's a big question, Top Loader. Thanks for asking it. So yeah, the Master System. I mean, it's a great system, and it's one that, I mean, I unfortunately didn't grow up with, so I don't really have a whole lot of memories about it per se, but as far as my collection goes, I think I've got a pretty solid collection. My US collection's almost complete. So am I going for a full collection? As much as I would like to say yes, no, unfortunately not, and I'm pretty sure you know the reason why, but because for the US versions of the Master System, a handful of games for them, the only way to have the true US versions is because they have like a little UPC sticker on the back of it, and that little UPC sticker is enough to drive the cost up, especially on a US copy of Sonic the Hedgehog. I mean, it's ridiculous how much it actually goes for, and I've got the PAL copies of all of them. I got the PAL Sonic, I've got the PAL Spider-Man, I've got the PAL Strider. I'm fine with it. As far as regions go, I've got a good mix of US, PAL, and even some Tectoy Brazilian imports, like Street Fighter 2, for example. I've got that. It's an interesting little number. I plan on doing a treasure chest on it. It's an interesting little number. They tried. It's probably the best thing I'll say about it. And as far as games that I want for the Master System that I still don't have, of course the Sonic games. The Sonic games on the Master System, the only ones I've gotten so far are Sonic 1 and Sonic 2, which I love Sonic 2. I've already gushed about that enough. But so I still need Sonic Chaos, I still need Sonic Spinball, which I believe is a pricier one now, and the unicorn out of all of them, I should say, which is Sonic Blast on the Master System, because it's only available in Brazil and it was released by Tectoy. It is an official release because it's only available on the Game Gear in the West. But that one, it's like at least $300 now as of this video, I believe. Someday I will get it. In fact, I know someone who's semi-local that has it. Hey, Chief, if you ever want to sell it to me, buddy. But, yeah, it's not a great game, but I absolutely want it for my collection. Aside from Sonic, Master of Darkness, that's a big one I really want for the Master System. Streets of Rage 1 and 2, most certainly want it because the Master System version of Streets of Rage 2 is the only version of that game that I don't own. Whether it's digital or physical, that's the only version of Streets of Rage 2 I don't have, so I definitely need it in my collection. Oh, yeah! Mortal Kombat and Mortal Kombat 3, because Mortal Kombat 1 and 3, I think 2 maybe did, but 3 for sure, because it's a Brazilian import, and it's fascinating what they did with it. It's like super fascinating, so I need to have that. But yeah, that's all I've got. Much love to the Master System. It's a little engine that unfortunately over here in the US really got not much love at all, so more power to them on that.
Congrats on the 3K subscriber, G. My question for you is, what was one of your favorite gaming event experiences that you had?
Hey, Javi, thanks for the question. Favorite gaming experience ever? There's so many. I've been going to gaming and anime conventions for a long time now. It's like well over a decade. But I'd still say to this day, my favorite gaming experience as a whole was probably the Screw Attack Gaming Convention Series, SGC. It went on for about 4 years. It was in Irving and in Dallas, Texas. It was a great convention. I mean, I can't really say, except for maybe Retropalooza, I can't really say that any other convention for gaming has been this as chill and is so much fun. And I got to meet like some of the OG, like I mentioned before, the OG YouTubers. I got to meet them for the first time. It was my first chance of being able to meet the Angry Video Game Nerd. I got to meet Captain S there. I got to meet Stuttering Craig of Game Attack. I got to meet all of them. The original G1s, the original Screw Attack team. It was a blast, and the people there were just so much fun. And unfortunately, once they got bought out by Rooster Teeth and became part of RTX, the magic just kind of died. Unfortunately, much respect to Rooster Teeth, but I'm just like, after that, it wasn't the same. So much peace to and much love to Screw Attack and SGC, but I will say that really has to be my favorite gaming experience. But you know what? I don't know. I hear those people at the Sonic Artist Meet, or excuse me, Chaos Creators. I heard they're pretty dope too. I wonder what they got in store in 2020. So, but please believe I'll be there. But yeah, I'd say that's my favorite. So yeah, thank you, Javier. I appreciate the question.
What's up, G? Congratulations from the UK on your 3,000 subs. Massive achievement, mate. Well done. So my question is, which of the systems that you collect for now did you not have as a kid? And of those, which is your favorite? Cheers.
Hey, thanks for the question on a retro tip. Again, another YouTuber you should definitely check out. Which of the systems that I collect for now did I not have as a kid? I wasn't really a Nintendo kid. And the thing is that the only real Nintendo system that I ever owned as a kid was the NES. We didn't have a Super NES. My sister had a Nintendo 64, but we didn't have it together for a while because by the time it happened, she moved out. She went to college. So I didn't really have that much exposure to the N64. But I will say one system that I do actively collect for now that I didn't have as a kid was the Master System. Because the Master System was something that was elusive. It wasn't really available in the areas that I grew up in, whether when I was living in Houston or when I was living in Kansas City. They weren't really available in either area, and I actively collect for it now. The Master System, as I've mentioned before, it's a fascinating system. Just the amount of games that came out for it that we didn't even get here in the US is staggering, and it always fascinates me because it's always a new experience to try out those games, especially the ones that were on Game Gear that got ported to Master System. But between that and then the other system that I collect for that I didn't have for a kid, or when I was a kid, is the PlayStation Vita. And the PlayStation Vita has a super soft spot in my memory. It's just because it came at a time when I was actually going through a real rough patch in my life. I was transitioning jobs, I was transitioning basically my entire lifestyle. And I just got so gripped into the games and the community, and it's just so much fun. The games themselves are just so great. If you're into RPGs, if you're in the action games, you're in the puzzle games, it's a wonderful system. And I fell so much in love with it that I decided, you know what? It's fun to collect for this thing, and I'm just going to keep going. And here I am today at the end of 2019 with a near complete PlayStation Vita collection. I'm only missing the last few games that Limited Run Games is going to put out for it, including that fabled secret game that they're supposed to put out for those who collected all of them. And I love the Vita, and so I'd probably say that one really is my favorite. If I had to pick between the two of those, yeah, the Vita takes it. So Viva La Vita. I'll stay on my Vita island for as long as it takes. So yeah, thanks again for the question. All right, that was a hot start, y'all. Man, like I said, there's just some great questions. So let's just keep it going. All right, so who do we got next? Oh, hey.
Hey, G, how's it going? Or George, if you prefer. I was wondering what one particular video game and what one particular channel, videos, other person influenced you most in making or how your channel came to be, and what continues to influence you to make the same videos that you do, the great videos that you do for your channel. Thanks.
My man, Kyle, great question, man. So, what really keeps me going as a YouTuber, and what games or channels have really influenced me? So, as far as if I have to pick one game that influenced me, of course it's Sonic. I mean, from the beginning to the end, ever since the very beginning in '91, I mean, it's the game that really got me started and got me influenced, not only as a gamer, but also as a video creator, because at the end of the day, it always comes back to Sonic. But as far as YouTube channels go, I can't pull it all into just one channel. I mean, there's quite a few channels that I really hold near and dear that have inspired me to kind of twist everything in, in my own little package, so to speak. I mean, whether it comes down to the Angry Video Game Nerd, the OG Screw Attack, Brian Zane of Wrestling with Regret, the original team from What Culture, and whether it be What Culture Gaming, What Culture, what videos were wrestling. And people like Ali Flanagan, I know she's on Twitch now, but I mean, her original YouTube videos, she really got me. People like Slopes Game Room, he's incredible. Kim Justice, she's incredible. And there's just many channels like that that I watch so much and just thinking to myself, you know what, I can do this. And whenever I get like those comments, especially from people like Kim and DJ Slope and whatnot, that come to me and say, it's like, you know what, I really like her channel. In fact, it's just a real quick story. GameSack, another channel that, I hold near and dear that has really influenced me. When I got to meet them at Retropalooza a few years ago, and I asked them a question at the Q&A panel that they did, and Joe was just like, well, G. And it's like, it just hit me right there. And then when I got a chance to meet him and Dave, and I talked to them afterwards, and I said bye. It's like, thank you so much for talking to me, And Dave was like, hey, great to meet you, bye. And then Joe turns to me and he says, please be safe, G. And I'm just like, man, and it hit me so hard. But yeah, as far as like influences goes, it's between all those, and of course I can't talk about influential YouTubers without mentioning Tyler, formerly of iRetroGamer. I can't go without mentioning him because he's a good chunk of the reason why I'm here today. Because he's the one that brought me in on his channel, broke me out of my shell. As I talk about like, your first YouTube videos being kind of cringy at first, I think it's because like that first time where I went on his channel talking about Ghostbusters 2 and I'm a nervous wreck. I'm wondering, are people gonna like me and whatnot? And he's just like, relax, just be yourself and you'll come into it. And then sure enough, as the days and months and whatnot came by and I started my own channel, now it's become like semi-natural, And so probably I can't thank him any more than anybody else, that I can say that really got me started. But those are what's really influenced me. Those are the people that really have influenced me. But what influences me to keep going? People like you. That's probably the biggest influence that I have to keep going, because it's because of your comments, it's because of your likes, it's because of everybody that's been asking me all these questions, people who talk to me on Twitter, and people who come see me at conventions, people who chant G, G, G at all the different conventions that I actually go to. You all don't know how much that warms my heart. That is what keeps me going. That's straight from the heart, man. I can't really say any other reason. So, yeah, and some many, many more. But yeah, thanks again for the question, man.
Right on, man. Congratulations. At 3,000, you're going to blow past that in no time, man. You got the talent for it, and I'm proud of you. Okay, I have a question for you. Do you think reproduction cartridge-based games are bad for the collecting community?
Hey, thanks, Propane Key, and thanks for the follow, man. I'm glad to meet you and whatnot on Twitter. You're a fun follow. But, yeah, that is an excellent question, and it's something that, actually, I'm surprised nobody's really asked me about yet. So, yeah, thoughts on reproduction cartridges in the community. And I probably have the same thoughts about reproduction cartridges as I do with emulation. There's always going to be a time and a place. Sometimes it's warranted, sometimes it's not. It really depends on how well it's done. I actually am a fan of reproduction cartridges that are really unique and are stylish, as long as it's something that's, not in production today, which, I mean, when it comes to cartridges, what is it, right? And ones that don't obviously look like the real thing. If it's something that looks like the real thing and it's not marked and it says not for, not a reproduction cartridge or something like that, those are, no, in the bin, go away. Because you never know, like, you buy something on eBay and it turns out to be a fake or somebody swapped the board out on it. Those are the reproduction cartridges that I have an issue with. But it's the ones that you see on specialty shops online, or you see at conventions that might have like multiple games in one, or it's a custom hack or something like that. Especially like ones of Sonic or ones of Mario, or even The Legend of Zelda. It's like stuff like that I'm like super, super fascinated by. But I actually have a couple of my favorites that I have that I actually wanted to show. Like this one, for example, this one was made by my buddy Marco over at Squirrels Custom Games. I showed this one on Twitter not too long ago, and it's a custom reproduction cart of the 2019 ROM of Darius that's on the Sega Genesis Mini. And it's awesome. I mean, see, this is what I'm talking about. These are the kind of reproduction cartridges that I love. It's like, it looks like it really could have been something that's come out way back in the day. It's even got an instruction manual, a full color instruction manual, no less. The cart actually looks like, I mean, just the painstaking amount of detail that they've done, or that he did to this, is quite awesome. Like this one, for example, this one's from a buddy of mine on Instagram, Advanced Pillow. And he actually does with some of his limited collector's edition. This is a hack, well, not a hack, excuse me. This is a translation of Battle Golfer Yui, which I have the original cartridge of as well. But it's fully translated, and the cartridge is just beautiful. I mean, again, it's like he's got like a certificate of authenticity. It's got like a magnet. It's got like stickers, which the stickers are in another bag. It's got a translated comic cart, full color manual. And again, it's like, take a look at that spine. Look at how beautiful that is. I mean, again, this is awesome. Or stuff like this one, for example, like Yu Yu Hakusho, Makyo Twatsuten. You know, this is, again, completely translated for an American audience. And I have the original of that as well. See, but here's what I'm talking about. It's like reproduction cartridges that don't obviously look like the real thing. Like, this is the real, and this is the repro. And see, stuff like that, I'm cool with. So, again, like I said, it's really just a time and a place for everything. Or even something like this Battle Mania Daijingo. This one is basically a translated card as well. But notice, this game was only released in Japan, so it obviously doesn't look like the real thing. It's like these, that's what I'm cool with, you know? But as far as reproduction cartridges go, I'm definitely down for it. Again, there's a time and a place for it, as long as it doesn't look obviously like the real thing. But stuff like these, that is awesome. But yeah, excellent question. Thank you so much.
Hey G, what's up? Astro Gamer here. Congratulations on 3,000 subscribers. My question for you is, what's your favorite Sega Saturn game and why? Thanks for all the great content, man, and here's for another 3,000 subscribers. Later, man.
Yeah, thanks, Astral. Appreciate the question, man. Much love for the Sega Saturn, the little system that could. I love the Saturn so much, so it's a super hard decision to determine, like, what's my favorite Saturn game. Because it's like, oh, stuff like Panzer Dragoon Saga, Shining Force 3, Burning Rangers. You know, there's so many incredible games on the system. But again, going back to, you know, like I said, it always comes back to Sonic. It's not gonna be a Sonic game on the Saturn, trust me. But my favorite game on the Saturn is Guardian Heroes. Treasure Co. at their absolute best. Not only is this my favorite Saturn game, it's one of my favorite games of all time. Just talk about a beat 'em up that really took things to the extreme. It's 4-player gameplay, not a hint of a dull moment in the entire game. Being able to add custom abilities to the Golden Warrior, being able to maximize your own custom abilities. I remember like playing the game with my sister back in the day, just trying to get every single ending that we possibly could, and we did. And I did it all over again when the game came out on the Xbox 360, which is also compatible with Xbox One. Go buy it. It's incredible. And this game has now become kind of pricey now. My copy, unfortunately, it's very well loved. It's, you know, normally I'm not a super stickler when it comes to details, but I mean, I got a good deal on it, but yeah, unfortunately, it's a bit water damaged. But again, Guardian Heroes, it's definitely my favorite amongst the seas of just so many games, so much untapped potential that the Sega Saturn had. But Guardian Heroes, definitely my favorite. Thanks, Astral. Excellent question, man.
Hey G, it's Crash here. Congrats on 3K subscribers, you deserve it. Anyways, I got 2 questions for you. And before you ask, yes, I am speaking as Stupid Shadow, quote unquote. It's just the Jazzler Shadow. Because I discontinued Stupid Shadow. I ran out of ideas. But anyways, are you gonna take your wife to see the new Sonic movie when it comes out next year? And also, have you tried the new Sonic the Hedgehog Funko Pop cereal? Like, is it good? Is it bad? I wanna know your thoughts on it. So please let me know. Again, congrats on 3K.
Hey, Crash, and thank you so much. Again, I know you've been there since the very beginning, too, and I highly, highly appreciate it. So, yeah, am I going to take my wife to see the Sonic movie? I mean, well, of course...
Hey, G, do you mind if I answer the first question?
Wait, no.
Hey, Crash, it's Stupid Shadow's twin brother, Smart Shadow, here to answer your G's question there. So, you're wondering, is G going to take his wife to go see the Sonic movie? Well, of course he's gonna take her to go see the Sonic movie. I mean, she's almost just as excited to go see it as he is, right? I mean, who's not gonna love, you know, Jim Carrey as Dr. Eggman? I mean, come on, everybody's excited about it. But unfortunately, he can't take her to go see it on opening day because of her job. And when it comes to the next time, G's gonna go see it multiple times. But he's gotta have one time to go see it specifically with her, especially because he's planning to do a special event that hopefully, if he can make it happen, he'll announce on all of his social feeds. So if you're in Houston, watch out for that. But anyway, G's glaring at me, so I gotta go. But you keep doing all the good work, keep making your videos, and thank you so much. But yeah, I gotta go.
All right, whatever, whatever he said. But anyway, the other questions you asked. One of my thoughts on the Funko Pop Sonic cereal. Well, I don't really have any thoughts on it yet because I haven't even opened my box yet. I'm looking to see if I can get another one so that way I can keep this one sealed and open up one. But I will say, keep your eye on this channel because I do plan on making an entire video about Sonic the Hedgehog food. We're gonna eat this. We're gonna eat the Sonic Pop, the ones with the infamous gumball eyes, and the the Sonic Curry. And I don't know how to feel about that yet. That's gonna be interesting. But so keep an eye out for that though. But yeah, I bet you it's probably gonna be interesting. We'll see.
Hello mate, Dylan from Arcade Attack here. We just wanted to wish you congratulations for 3,000 subscribers. I think that's phenomenal. I think it's very well deserved. I think you're superly entertaining, the stuff you come up with. Obviously mainly Sega stuff. We love all of that stuff. So please keep making videos. Please keep entertaining us. Alright. Regards a question, I suppose, what is the thing that's infuriated you most about any Sonic game? So you're a big Sonic fan. What's the game that got something so wrong, but could have got it so right to make it a lot better? Obviously, you know a lot more. You've done your little charts on how, what Sonic games are better than what, but which one of the worst ones could have made it to the top of that list, obviously by just tweaking a few things. All right. All the best, mate.
Hey Dylan, thanks again, man. I really appreciate it. And you guys keep up the great work at Arcade Attack too. So definitely go give them a listen or even subscribe to their YouTube. Their podcast is awesome. I love it. I listen to it every week. What has infuriated me the most in a Sonic game? Labyrinth Zone Act 3. I would have to say that infuriated me the most. You don't know, as a kid, and even today I still kind of struggle with it, how many times I died trying to get to the top, because you pretty much have to make a perfect run if you want to have any hope of being able to get past and not drown. It's like, seriously, it's tough and it's ridiculous and it's really frustrating. I'd say I would say it's a top, and then right behind that, I would probably say the Barrel of Doom in the Carnival Night Zone in Sonic 3, because again, that's another one I'm just like, how in the world do you get past that? It's like, I didn't know at the time that you had to tilt the D-pad to kind of create a pendulum effect and then jump up at the top. I spent an entire night trying to figure that out until I just like, you know what, screw this. I picked up the second controller and I used Tails to get me up to the top. I'm like, fine, I got past it. It wasn't until like way later that I figured out how to do that. But yeah, that was pretty infuriating to the most part. But yeah, no. Forget it. It's still Labyrinth Zone Act 3. Screw that all. Seriously.
Brian here from Sin Spacey's kind of curious what game in his collection would he be really, really sore if someone was to come in and steal it. He's not around here to ask, he's kind of ducked out, so, Snatcher, don't mind if I do.
Seriously, Brian, how dare? How dare? But, first thing I will say to everybody here is, first rule of collecting, when it comes to your higher price items, always have a decoy, and keep the real one nice and squared away, But, so yeah, to answer your question, what game would I hurt the most for losing if someone were to take it, or if I were to lose it? I would probably say what would hurt the most would probably be if I lost my Mega Man The Wily Wars. I'd say it's just because, not only for the item itself, because this was my white whale for so long in Mega Drive and Genesis collecting, but also the memory behind it of being able to get it signed by Keiji Inafune. It's just everything about actually finally owning this game and the satisfaction of finally having it. And this is the one that I think would really hurt the most. It's like, yeah, I've got games that are going to be more valuable, quote unquote, but I would say this one would probably hurt the most in the heart. that I would lose. So yeah, and then the best thing about Mega Man: The Wily Wars now is that you can just go get a Genesis Mini and you can play it that way now. You don't have to shell like hundreds of dollars to play a legit copy. So that's pretty awesome. But I would really hope that I don't have any more people break in here and try to steal some games from me. Seriously, why?
Alright, what up? It's your boy Shinkensu, what's going on, man? Big ups to my boy G to the next level. As you know, I got a question for you, my man. So my question to you, sir. If you had to pick 3 games to add to the TurboGrafx Mini, what would you pick? What would you pick?
Hey, thanks, Kenso. And this man right here is also a big inspiration. I didn't mention him before, like when I talk about people that inspired me to really keep going through on YouTube. He's been for me through some dark times. So do me a favor, Shin Kenso, check him out on Twitch and on YouTube. Go give the man a follow and a sub, because he's pretty great, especially if you like fighting games. But anyway, to answer his question, what 3 games would I put on the TurboGrafx Mini? Now, of course, the TurboGrafx Mini hasn't come out yet. It doesn't come out until March. And please believe there will be a review and a level 10 on this, so I don't want to give too much away. If I could pick 3 games that I really think should be on the TurboGrafx Mini, first of all, Magical Chase. I mean, come on. As far as like just your iconic kind of shooters, they picked some really great ones for the TurboGrafx Mini with Lords of Thunder and Arizon, Blazing Lasers. They picked some good ones. But Magical Chase is just a wonderful game. I have not an entire playthrough because we died. But I have a good playthrough with me and my buddy Triple S. I'll put a link in the iCard if you want to go check it out. But Magical Chase is a wonderful game. I think it's kind of stuck in licensing hell. That's probably one of the reasons why we didn't get it. The next one I would say is Devil's Crush, or Devil's Crash, the sequel to Alien Crush, which is an excellent pinball game. One of my favorite video pinball games ever, and I'm pretty sure the reason why that one's not on there is probably because of its undertones, so to speak. I think it's rather tame, but that's just me. That's probably why it didn't make it. And then the last TurboGrafx game, I would probably say Jackie Chan's Action Kung Fu. I love that game. It's such a fun platformer. I've played the TurboGrafx version and the NES version. It's like both games are great, but that's really one of the games that I would clearly say kind of defined the PC Engine or the TurboGrafx. So I'm assuming that also is probably a licensing problem. But yeah, those are 3 that I would add. But however, there's 7 more that I would probably add for it. So I think we might have to wait for that level 10 video to see what the next 7 are going to be. But yeah, I cannot wait for the TurboGrafx Mini. And how many of you are going to go pick up the TurboGrafx Mini? I know I already got mine pre-ordered. So yeah, excellent question. Thank you so much, Kenso. Really appreciate it. Everything you've done for me, man.
G to the next level. Thank you so much for inviting me on to ask you a question. That's seriously awesome of you. You've got an awesome channel, and yeah, I've really enjoyed seeing it grow over the last couple of years. So many more views and subs coming, I'm sure. But what I wanted to ask you, buddy, is basically tell us about some of the struggles. Tell us a little bit more about behind the scenes of YouTube. Tell us about a particular time over the last year where something has been really hard for you to do on the channel. Yeah, I'm interested to hear. Thank you very much again for inviting me on, and yeah, peace out.
Hey, Slope. Hey, thanks for getting your question in right as I was about to start editing. So, what's really the toughest thing that I've had to do in YouTube within like the last year? Like maybe what was probably my one of my biggest struggles, I guess I would say. I would probably have to say it's basically at the beginning of the year where, sometimes when doing videos on YouTube, and I'm sure this is something that you can understand as well, and many people out there that make videos on YouTube can understand, is that sometimes when life throws you a curveball and, the job really starts getting stressful, changes and many things are happening, that it starts taking a toll on what you do on YouTube. And that's basically what was happening at the beginning of the year. And I took like a couple of months to just kind of recollect and get things together. And unfortunately, by doing that, I felt like I kind of lost a lot of momentum. Views for this year has been a little bit stilted, like compared to last year. I mean, granted, and thank you for the comment, by the way. I mean, everything's like the creative juices are super flowing. It's like I've got so many ideas in my head, and I've never been more fired up to make more videos than I have right now. But I can't really say that for the beginning of this year. So And that really goes to, I'd say, one of the toughest things is just finding your balance. You know, finding your YouTube life balance, so to speak. And at that point in time, it just wasn't happening. And I know that's a struggle for a lot of people. So that's one of the biggest pieces of advice I have, and really that I've had told to me, that I told everybody else, is that you control YouTube. YouTube doesn't control you. I mean, unless it's your main source of income, which for me it's not. I still work an 8 to 5 day job. But I'd always say that really has been my my toughest struggle, I'd say, throughout the entire year. Well, actually, really since I've started YouTube. But, you know, things have gotten a lot better. And it's definitely shown in my attitude and my outlook towards life. Thankfully, my wife has been there for me. And so many people have been there for me throughout these hard times, including you. And I really appreciate that, too. So, I mean, you're awesome. And it's like everybody else is so much is awesome. So, I mean, thanks for the question, man. I really, really appreciate it. I really appreciate all the support. Like I said, you don't know how much that really means to me, because you're one of the most inspirational people that I've found on YouTube. Like so many people that have asked questions, like this next one coming up here.
Hi G, James here with a small question, or more of a request really. Could you read me your favorite piece of Sonami fanfiction, or at least an excerpt from it?
Sweet 16. You'll wait for me, won't you, Sonic? She asked softly. And despite what the future might hold for her, Sonic knew that his heart had been completely and irrevocably stolen by Amy Rose. For as long as it takes, he promised. Nope. Sorry, man. I love you, James, but sorry, man. Can't do it. Can't do it. No. We'll be right back. Alright, now that that's done, we've hit about the halfway point, so I figured before we get to the rest of the questions, I wanted to go through a few text questions. I know I asked everybody to send video questions, but there were a few that were, didn't really have the ability to make a video, or maybe were a little bit too shy to be on camera, but the questions were too good that I didn't want to pass up. So, real quick fire questions. This is from Alexis from Twitter. Hello, G, and congratulations. My name is Alexis, and I'm from Uruguay. My question is, what is your opinion of the Neo Geo system and its games? Samurai Showdown, Fatal Fury. Thanks. Alexis, thanks for the question, man, and greetings, from the US to Uruguay. The Neo Geo, I absolutely love the Neo Geo. I think it's a great system. It's something that, once again, I didn't really have at home growing up, but since I played in the arcades a lot as a kid, that's how I was exposed to the Neo Geo. So I got to play games like Fatal Fury, Samurai Showdown, Alpha Mission, more other shooters like Polestar, and of course the King of Fighters series, Garo Mark of the Wolves, The Last Blade. There's so many great games on the Neo Geo, or even like Metal Slug. And my favorite Neo Geo game, Baseball Stars 2. Again, I have a really fond memory of Baseball Stars 2, and I'll definitely talk about that at a later time. But yeah, the Neo Geo, long live it forever. I really want to get that. I want to get that new joystick that just came out for it, and I'm really curious to see how well it does. So, next question is from my friend Emma, who I've talked about on this channel before. She's the one that helped me get all that Sonic items from the UK and whatnot. So her question is, hey G, thanks for letting me send you a question via text. What was your greatest gaming achievement or moment that you are most proud of? Well, longtime viewers of my channel probably already know this. And in fact, I'm wearing the pin from it right now. And that's when I competed in the Blockbuster World Championship in 1994. And I competed in NBA Jam. It's like, even though I didn't win, it's just the fond memories and everything that I actually have behind it. The keepsakes that I have from that, which is just really awesome. Like my copy of Virtual Racing that still has the Blockbuster sticker on it. And it's just all these individual memories. I still have my pack from that day. If you haven't seen that yet, definitely go check that video out. I'm going to put a link in the iCard as well. But yeah, I'd say that's still, to this day, my greatest gaming achievement. And last but not least is going to be my buddy Scott on Facebook. He says, favorite retro game that you would like to get remade with today's graphics? Well, that really is a tough one. And with so many games that actually are getting remade today, like say Panzer Dragoon, for example, it's like so many of my favorite games that I actually grew up with that are being remade. For some reason, if I had to go with a gut response, I would probably say a Shining Force game. Like a real Shining Force game. What I would probably love to see more than anything else is for Sega to make a new version of Shining Force 3 for the PS5 and for whatever the next Xbox is going to be, or even for the Switch. A new Shining Force version of Shining Force 3. An HD reimagined of Shining Force 3, completely translated with all 3 scenarios. Oh, it's like in my veins. Take my money right now. I want that so badly. And that's probably what I would say I would love to see remade the most, because there's so many other games that are being remade. And that's one that is probably more of a long shot, but I would buy in a heartbeat. But yeah, so that's really all I got for those quick fire questions. So let's get back to the video questions, and I hope this next one, please not be so cringy. Please.
Why won't you die? Oh, hi, Trustabytes here. Congratulations, G, on hitting that 3K milestone. You are doing awesome, man. My question for you would be, if you had to do a YouTube channel about something that wasn't gaming, what would you pick and why? Right, I've got to get back to... No!
Hey, Bex, thank you so much. And I'll absolutely love your channel as well. I really appreciate it. So, if I had to make a YouTube channel that wasn't about gaming, and again, for those of you all who know me in real life, who have actually talked to me at panels and whatnot, you'll probably know that one of my other favorite pastimes when it comes to something that's not gaming is wrestling. Like, I know a lot more about wrestling than you probably believe. I've been a fan of it ever since I was a kid, and through, if I had to make another channel, it probably would be wrestling related. And as far as like some of my other favorite channels out there that are related to wrestling, channels like Cultaholic and Wrestling with Regret, which is one of my favorites, very inspirational channel. One of my current favorite new channels, 616 Entertainment, a lot of his content is revolving around wrestling. Seriously, go watch his channel. He's awesome. But I would probably say if I had to make another one, it would be about wrestling. I've even toyed with the idea of making a separate Twitter account just regarding the wrestling, because it's like, I want to talk about it, but I know that there's this rift between like gamers and wrestling fans, so I'd be afraid if I made like an entire video or whatnot, it might not go so well. But if I had a separate channel, never say never, it might actually happen. But yeah, I think that's what I would do. I mean, what do y'all think? Would you all like to see a wrestling channel from me? Let me know. I might, it may happen. You never know.
Right, so a question for you, G. I've long been motivated for my games collecting for finding arcade perfect versions of arcade games I love. So the question is for you, G. What motivates your collecting?
Hey, Bloggo, thanks for the question, and thank you for all your support as well, man. So, what motivates my collecting? Well, I'd probably say the biggest drive that goes for my collecting is, well, really two things, I could say. First off is having a goal. Basically, like, when I first really started getting into retro gaming, I didn't really have so much of a focus aside from the Genesis. I didn't really have a whole lot of focus behind it. I was just kind of getting things here and there, just really what kind of piqued my curiosity and whatnot. You should have seen my original wall of PS1 games. Like, games I would have thought, like, never in a million years would I have ever had in my collection. I'm just like, why do I have a copy of M&M Shell Shock? I mean, like, seriously, you know, it's like, when I purged a lot of those to get KO Flying Squadron on the Sega CD, it actually felt kind of good, because I was just like, now it's concise, it's down to the games that I love the most, and that's really where it comes down to. It's just like, focus collecting on the games that really pique my curiosity the most, and what I love the most. But the second biggest factor is probably the learning experience. Because, yeah, I know about Sega for the most part, but then when I get to systems that I never really grew up with, like I grew up with the NES, but I didn't really grow up with the Super NES. There's a lot of Super NES games that I've never played. Heck, there's a lot of GameCube games I've never played. I only really just now got in touch with the TurboGrafx 16. Again, something else that I didn't grow up with. The Neo Geo CD. Even, you know, random ones like the 3DO and the CDI. It's stuff like that that I really just kind of piqued my curiosity. And when I really fall in love with that system and I start collecting for it, again, like the PlayStation Vita, and that's what really drives me and that fuel for me. But again, it's just like keeping it concise to the stuff that I really, really want and that I'd like to cover in the channel. Well, it's like, would this make an interesting video? Yeah, sure, you know? I know you've been there with the kind of videos that you make. It's like, hey, this would be interesting. So, yeah, that's what really kind of fuels my collection. And thank you so much, Blog. I really appreciate it.
Hello there, G to the next level. big congratulations, first of all, on 3,000 subscribers. A really good, great milestone. So glad you got there. My question for you is, what was the first game that you played when you were a child? Again, big congrats on 3,000 subscribers, so see ya.
Hey Nathan, thank you so much for the question, man, and for all your support too. The first game I ever played as a child was Vanguard, and that was in the arcade. So because my first real exposure to really any kind of video gaming was in the arcade, you know, long before we got an Atari, long before we got the NES. And Vanguard in the arcade was really one of the first experiences that I had with my dad. And it really kind of spurred things off because it was the first game that we got when we got an Atari. And I love Vanguard. Like, even just recently, I happened to get one of the marquees, the arcade marquees for it, and I'm definitely going to hang it on my wall somewhere. But that was the first game I ever played. And even to this day, every time I hear the invincibility theme, it touches me in a way that very few things can touch before. The power of nostalgia, and the power of things that you spend in time with your family, you know? So Vanguard will always be close to me. And yeah, that's the first game I've ever played.
Greetings, it's Frankie Combo Broker here, and well, G, 3,000 subscribers. All I can say is that congratulations are very much in order. Well done. 3,000 more, 100,000 more. I say we just keep it going. Just keep up the good work, my friend. Now, time for a question. Now, we all know that you are a fan of Sonic the Hedgehog, and I think you'd also agree that maybe the character's had a bit of an unfair reputation over the years. Having said that, though, I want to know what you think is actually the worst Sonic game out there. I'm sure there's plenty to choose from. Anyway, keep up the good work, and again, congratulations.
Oh, Frank, of course you would ask me this. So, and of course, thank you so much, man. And glad to see you back on YouTube, man. Can't wait to see what else you got in store for I Suck But So Does. But yeah, the worst Sonic game. So, for the longest time, and you all remember my Sonic collection video, for the longest time, it was this. It was Sonic Jam on the Gamecom, because Sonic Jam on the Gamecom is a broken, muddled mess. But it's not the worst. This is the worst. And it's Sonic the Hedgehog Genesis on the Game Boy Advance. This is definitely the worst for me because, look, Sonic Jam on the Gamecom, it is a broken mess, but it has limitations of the Gamecom. I've actually found a bit more respect for that because the Gamecom is an awful system. Don't get me wrong. I mean, there are games that have really tried, but it's hard for me to say that there are any good games on the Gamecom, because there actually really aren't. And Sonic Jam, they really tried to make the game work. There is no excuse for how crappy this game is. I mean, especially considering that it was supposed to be a commemoration for the 15th anniversary of Sonic. So, let's take this for example, a port of the original Sonic the Hedgehog, a game that was 15 years ago, before this was made, on a system that is arguably equal to, if not more powerful than the Genesis. How could you screw this up? I mean, seriously, the game is barely playable. I mean, it's broken, it sounds like crap, it looks like garbage because it's too zoomed in. The lag on it is unbelievable, the glitchiness is unbelievable. And I mentioned before about Labyrinth Zone Act 3, why I hate that stage so much. Try playing it on this. I hate you. Get out of here. Seriously. It's awful. Don't even try it. It literally could be one of the worst games I've ever played. And that hurts as a Sonic fan. It really does. And it's like, man, it's like between that, Sonic 06, and Shadow the Hedgehog all coming out, Sonic did not have a good year in 2006, did he? Nope.
What's up, G? Congratulations. My question is, what's the first game that you bought with your own money?
Hey, thanks, dude. Man, excellent question. What is the first game I remember buying with my own money? And that's tough, because it's like the first system that we had was an Atari. And from what I remember, I don't remember buying any Atari games with my own money. I don't think I bought any games with my own money until we got the NES. And I would probably say that the first game that I bought with my own money, from what I remember, is Super Mario Bros. 2. Because we got Super Mario Bros. 1 as part of because we had the action pack. It came with Mario Bros. And Duck Hunt. And I remember, like, getting Christmas money the next year. We didn't get any other games. Super Mario Bros. 2 had just come out. And I remember, like, pitching in, so this might be cheating a little bit because it wasn't completely my own money. I remember pitching in with my sister. We bought this game together because we both wanted to play it so bad, and I love Mario 2. I know Mario 2 gets a bad rep in a lot of places, but it's like, I love it. It's a great game. It's not as good as Mario 3, mind you, but hey, it's a great game. But this is the one that I think I bought with my own money, and we're getting back into the days where my memories do kind of haze a little bit, but I'd probably say that I think it's Mario 2. Yeah, we'll go with that. Thank you, Toon. Excellent question.
Hey G, congrats on the 3K subs. You deserve it. My question is, if you had to pick one Sonic game that defines your childhood, which is it?
Hey, Salma. Yeah, out of, the bereft of excellent Sonic games on the Genesis, what Sonic game really defined my childhood? I mean, I can't really say anything else other than the original. It's like Sonic 3 might be my favorite Sonic game, but which one really defined my childhood? Not only defined my childhood, but also defined me as a gamer going on from years and years beyond that. I'd say it's the original Sonic. Granted, like I said, it has its issues. It's not perfect, but this was really the one that sparked my love of video games, just as a whole. I mean, it's like Atari and the NES started it. The Genesis was the one that poured fuel on the fire, and Sonic was the one to do it.
Hey, G, it's Tyler. Congratulations, man. 3,000 subscribers. That is so awesome, really. You deserve it, and all of your subscribers deserve you. I got a question for you. I got a quick question for you. Describe for us your very first experience at Chuck E. Cheese. Do you remember the games you played? What kind of games did they have? Were there any games in particular that just blew you away? I want to know about that kind of special memory at Chuck E. Cheese, because I have a lot of special memories at Chuck E. Cheese, and I'm sure a lot of us watching do as well. So again, congrats, and here's to the next 3,000. You're going there. We'll see you soon. All right, man. See you later. Congrats again.
Hey, Tyler, thank you so much for taking the time to ask me a question, man. I'm glad things are going really well for my retro life and for everything that you're doing. Wouldn't be here today if it weren't for you, man. Really appreciate it. So, favorite memories of Chuck E. Cheese. Now, I know some of y'all are going to be looking at me crazy, but I don't really have much. We didn't really go to Chuck E. Cheese when I was a kid. However, we did go to our local Pizza Hut a lot. And if I could have, favorite memories of that, it's because at that Pizza Hut, their arcade was great. I mean, that's where I got my first exposure to the Ninja Turtles arcade game. That's where I got my first chance at being able to play a Play Choice 10. And that was really my exposure to the NES. Because we got there before we actually got an NES system and playing the games on the Play Choice 10. I remember, while we were going in for carryout and we were waiting for our pizza, they couldn't pry me off that machine. They were like, okay, son, it's ready to go. I'm like, no, but I want to keep playing because I was doing so well, And it's just like those fond memories. And that Pizza Hut, unfortunately, is not there anymore. I think it's a CC's now, and it's not quite the same. But that's really what it is when it comes to memories. I mean, I know that we also went to the Showbiz. I only went to there as well, but yeah, unfortunately for Chuck E. Cheese in itself, I don't really have that much for it. But when it comes to those memories of Pizza Hut and just gaming of theirs, that's really where it comes down to, man. I love that memory, and it's like one of those when I'm talking about dream arcade machines. I would love to have a Play Choice 10. I mean, seriously, that would be amazing. But yeah, so very interesting development that we never went to Chuck E. Cheese, but it is what it is. But thank you so much, Tyler. Again, from the bottom of my heart, man. I truly appreciate it. Alright, folks, we're at the home stretch. The last few bit of questions here. These have been some incredible questions, y'all. I really, really am having a blast with this. I appreciate it. So, let's go ahead and close out strong. So, who's up next? Oh, my man.
Hey, G, how's it going, dude? Congrats on hitting 3,000 subs, man. My question is this. If there was a new crossover video game and you had to pick only 2 different games and put them into one from any console, any crossover, which of those 2 games would you like to pick and see happen? You have yourself a good one, dude. Peace out.
Whew, excellent question there, Hector. Appreciate it, man. So, what 2 games would I like to see a crossover of? And there's so many options. There's so many, It's like we got Mario and Sonic. So we already got like the 2 definitives. But I think probably it's going to be a little bit super obvious, but I would say 2 gaming crossovers I would love to see, and it's because they're so similar in style and just mesh super well together. Jet Set Radio and Splatoon. I mean, seriously, because if you really think about the 2 games, they're so similar in styles, similar in gameplay. It's like, you got the turf warfare with the painting and the splatting with the Splatoons and versus each other versus the tagging of Jet Set Radio. Just everything about the environment, the style, the music. They share so much together that just imagine a collaboration between the 2. Imagine an online tag battle between Jet Set Radio and Splatoon. Oh, that would be incredible. That would just be so incredible. So, hey, yeah, Sega, Nintendo, you did Mario and Sonic. From what I hear, it's over. Next crossover you gotta do. Jet Set Radio, Splatoon. Make it happen. Seriously.
Hey G, Adventure Blur here. Congratulations on hitting 3,000 subscribers. You deserve every single subscriber you get. Your content is incredible. So my question is, if you could tell past G one thing that you've learned about YouTubing and game collecting, what would it be? What is one thing you wish you knew when you started doing all of this that you've learned now? Again, congratulations on 3,000 subscribers, and here's to 3,000 more.
Hey, Adventure Blur, thank you so much, man. I really, really appreciate everything that you've done for me too, and thank you for having me on your channel as well. If I could tell my past self one thing about collecting and about YouTubing, let's start with collecting first. If I could tell him one thing, and I think I briefly mentioned this in my Dreamcast video, is to just, think about what you're selling. And I can really say that to anybody who's collecting right now, because there's no way for us to judge really, like, what's going to be worth more in the future, what's going to be harder to get in the future. Everybody always speculates. That's why we got people like Super Nintendo out there that really kind of, make what-if sort of judgments about, like, what gaming values and gaming rarities are going to be. My thing is that if you have such a strong tie to said game, don't sell it. It's like, really, unless if it's something that's that desperate. Like, I always kind of joke around at the fact that I'm just like, you know what, if it comes to anything Sega, because Sega always comes first. Like, if it comes to between that and like my Nintendo or my Sony collections and whatnot, normally I'll part with some games to trade to get things that I need for Sega. But there are some times that you really have to stop and think, and that's what I would have told, my past self before he traded away all of his Saturn stuff on $99.99. It's like, stop and think, man. Don't sell these because they're going to be tough for you to get in the future. And that's probably what I would say from a collecting base. Now, as far as past G in YouTube life, probably the first thing I would say to him is, don't wait. One of the things I always say to a lot of YouTubers is like, I don't really know how to get started and whatnot. I mean, I've only been doing this now for 3 years. And it's just that, but you never really know how you're going to do it unless you get started. To me, I should have started, I really wanted to start YouTube, about maybe 4 years earlier than I actually did. And I just kind of, kicked the wheels and just, let them spin and turn, just realizing, I should have started sooner. Because if I had started sooner, before, things changed on YouTube and things kind of evolved, who knows where I would be today, But, everything happens for a reason. So, I'm thankful for where I'm at today. I'm thankful for you guys. I mean, I would have told them that, but you know what? It's just, things in life happen. And honestly, I wouldn't really change it. I'm glad to be where I'm at. So, great question. Thanks, man. Really appreciate it.
Hey G, how's it going? If you could pick 2 games, but one that is never on the Sega Genesis that you'd like to see ported in a very skillful way. Thanks for your time. Have a great one.
Hey, thanks a lot, Nick, and thanks again for letting me contribute to your website. Definitely look forward to doing much more with you. Excellent questions, man. If there's a game on the Sega Genesis that I would have liked to have seen ported that didn't get a port, what would it be? I'm going to go with 2 games that were supposed to be ported to the Genesis that unceremoniously got canceled for one reason or another. And they're Lufia, The Fortress of Doom, and Indiana Jones's Greatest Adventures. Because both of those games were supposed to come out for the Genesis. Lufia in particular is the one that really stings the most. Because for the longest time, I remember seeing the previews and the expos, the things in GamePro magazine and in EGM saying, hey, Lufia is coming to the Genesis. It's coming to the Genesis. Even the ads that Taito put out, it was a big black ad just said Lufia Genesis, and it would say summer 1995. Well, whatever year it was. And then later on, the ads actually had a cross through it saying it's like coming in January 1996, and it said underneath, "It's worth the wait." And then, poof, nothing. We didn't get anything out of it. And then even like Indiana Jones's Greatest Adventures, like that's one that I just found out about not too long ago, because I didn't even know that they were working on a Genesis version of it. Because if you look on the back of the manual for Skeleton Crew, there's an ad for it. I'm like, what? And then of course somebody found a prototype for it. They're not dumping ROM, which is unfortunate because I would really love to play that. Movie at least I think got like 95% done. So it's like, you know, it's just unfortunate that I know there was like 95. It was around that area where Sega was really trying to move on foolishly from the Genesis and onto the Saturn. We all know how well that went. So we never got them. So those are the two that will really kind of hurt the most that we didn't get. Now granted, I did wind up getting them eventually on the Super NES. So it's like, I do have them now. But just the sheer fact that, you know, I want them for the Genesis, dang it. I mean, seriously, it still kind of burns me to this day. But yeah, those are the two I would choose.
Yo, G, this is Team Skull, and we've kidnapped Sonic. Well, back, Rattata. If you want to see Sonic safe again, we're going to need your list of your top 5 favorite Pokemon. You do want to see Sonic safe, don't you? Don't make me sick Rattata on him.
Seriously, how do people keep... Fine, so my top 5 favorite Pokemon. Oh, yeah, well let's go from 5 and below. 5 I would have to say is Melodic. I mean, Melodic is... I just love Melodic's design. Like, I love its attacks. Just evolving from Feebas into Melodic. It's one of those things that you would never really see coming, including another Pokemon that makes my list further on. So, I'd say, yeah, that would be my number 5. Number 4, I would say, is Raichu. And Raichu is, you know, he's the big boy. Like, I know everybody loves Pikachu. Ever since I was a kid, I actually loved Raichu way more than I loved Pikachu. I always remember, like, one of my favorite moments in the anime ever was watching when, like, Lieutenant Surge is, like, doing his speech about how he's gonna beat Ash, and he does his little cross poses like this, and then the camera pans down and you see Raichu in the same pose, he goes, Raichu! Like, oh, you're such a badass. Like, I love you, Raichu. Third, and this is probably gonna be a surprise to some, Politoed. Politoed is one that I actually just found recently, mainly through Pokemon Go. Like, I didn't really have any idea who he was until I evolved him, and I'm just like, oh, he's cool! And so I'm just like, I really wanted to get more, like, merchandise, like, on Politoed. I know there's a plush of him out there, and it's just like, I want more. He's great. Number 2 is Gyarados, and that's another one that I've always loved since I was a kid, and I remember working so hard to evolve that Magikarp, and also just like in Pokemon Go, working so hard to catch Magikarp so I can get that Gyarados, and I got him, and now I have a shiny one, a lucky shiny one even. This is like, Gyarados is so freaking cool, and just seeing him for that split moment in Detective Pikachu. I remember when I was in the theater, I was like, God, he looks so great. Like, yeah, so he was awesome. And my number 1 Pokemon with a bullet, easily Espeon. Now, anybody, people who love me, like, I love cats, and as much as I wanted to put like somebody like Litten or somebody on there, Espeon is the GOAT for me. I mean, it's a great Pokemon with a great moveset and a great look. I would, if Pokemon were real and if I could have a real pet Pokemon, I would totally have an Espeon. Just like, hands down, just like the chillest little thing. In fact, even my cat that I have here pretty much mimics like an Espeon. Well, I guess you could probably argue that she's an Umbreon because she's a black cat, but still, she acts more like an Espeon. So, yeah, that's my, I'd say that's my top 5 Pokemon. Can I have my Sonic back now, please? I need to get a freaking, like, smart lock or something on here. Seriously, how do people keep getting in here?
Hey, G, congratulations on 3K subs, dude. That's awesome. I'm very happy for you, and it's well-deserved. Your content's top-notch. So, in this little Q&A video, first of all, I want to say cheers, buddy. This doesn't look like it, but it's actually a Budweiser Christmas edition. Anyways, cheers, happy holidays, and congratulations. Second of all, my question for you is, what is the best, worst game you have in your Genesis collection? Now, I mean like a game that everybody knows is bad, but it's the best one in terms of it's good. It's bad, but it's good. Anyways, G, cheers, And just keep on keeping on, dude. You got it.
Oh, man. Well, thank you, Nick. I appreciate that, man. And thank you for all your support, too. I really appreciate it. The best, worst game in my Genesis collection. I had a real hard time trying to figure out what would be the answer to that. But I think I found it. Ernest Evans. Now, again, for those who may have actually talked to me for a while, knows that El Viento is one of my all-time favorite games, and one of my favorite games on the Genesis. Ernest Evans is the prequel to that game. So what's interesting about it is, like, it might seem like your average kind of like Indiana Jones-esque like kind of character. It might seem to be something like that, but if you've ever played this game, you're in for an experience, because the sprite work on it is not just like your standard kind of 2D sprite. Renovation and Wolf Team decided to do this weird kind of like marionette sort of thing where it's like every limb on his body is a different sprite, and it just doesn't work. And it's like his whip just kind of goes like everywhere willy-nilly. Like you take attacks, like there's no invincibility bonus. Like every time you take a hit, there are no invincibility frames. So you can just die in like part of an instance. You randomly like fall asleep when touching certain things. The boss battles are like crazy, wild, and insane. But it's for those reasons that I have this allure of playing it. El Viento has the same sort of thing where like you're playing through this game as a Peruvian sorceress, you know, in the 1930s, and you're blowing up like people with Tommy guns and like back in like the Prohibition style era, gigantic pixelated explosions. There's even one stage where you're riding a dolphin and you fight a giant Cthulhu. You know what? I'm not going to go on in El Viento too much because I am definitely going to do a treasure chest video on El Viento, which I probably will talk about Ernest Evans in some way, shape, or form. But Ernest Evans, it's awful. I kind of love it.
Good day to you, G to the next level. You must be wondering, why am I laying on my bed with all these plushies in front of me? Well, the true answer is shut up. Because I have a question for you. Now, I of course know the answer, but no one else does. So I ask you, what is your top 5 anime waifus?
Man, Sam, of course you would hit me with the anime question. So, yeah, my buddy Triple S, my best bud in the whole world. Top 5 anime waifus. Now, real quick, for those of you who don't know what a waifu is. Actually, you know what? Do I even really need to define that? Go look it up on Google, whatever. I'm just going to say, like, my 5 favorite female characters in anime, basically. Top 5. So starting off at number 5, I'm going to go with Super Sonico. And I think it was Super Sonico, and I talked about her on this channel before too, that Super Sonico is the embodiment of somebody who could possibly have the purest heart out of any character in any anime ever. You know, she's just an absolute sweetheart. She evolves so much like as a character. Somebody who tries so hard that you think that she's just like, you know, a dingus with curves for days. But there's actually a lot of depth to her character, and it's great. It's great, and even her anime, it's dumb, but it's a lot of fun. Number 4, I would say, is Belle Dandy from Oh My Goddess. Oh My Goddess, it's a classic, and a big surprise, most of my choices are going to be from classic anime. Super Sonico, I think it's the only one that could be considered current. But, yeah, Belle Dandy, I mean, she's a goddess that can basically do anything at your whim. And again, such a sweetheart character. Oh My Goddess is such a great show. It really is a great show. Number 3, Ayaka Kisaragi. This is a deep cut. Ayaka Kisaragi from Phantom Quest Corp. It's a little 3-episode OVA series about a makeshift paranormal expert company. And the leader of it, the owner of the company, they say that she's old, like, she's not that old. But she's a firehead. She drinks a lot, but she's an absolute badass. She has a lipstick star sword in this badass red dress, like going to battle. She's awesome. Number 2, Raleigh Vincent from Gunsmith Cats. Again, just talk about another character who's just an absolute badass, bounty hunter, fast cars, lots of guns, great action. Now, I talk about this with Ghost in the Shell, and I'm just like, you're talking about animes that could make great live action movies. Gunsmith Cats, it's based in Chicago! You don't even need any CG, practical effects, guns, cars, explosions. Somebody in Hollywood make this happen, and do it right, like seriously. But yeah, Raleigh Vincent, number 2. And number 1, who will always be my number 1, is Ryoko from Tenchi Muyo. She will always be my number 1, just because, you know, 3,000-year-old demon with a heart of gold. Yes, she's brash. Yes, she does things like out of nowhere. She's a hell of a lot better than Princess Ayaka. Ugh.
What's up, G? Just got back from the Rockets game, as you can see. Go Rockets, we won super big today, destroy the Hawks. And on the way back, I was thinking about the question, and me being a huge Game Boy fan, plus one of the Black Friday pickups being this awesome gold Game Boy, just had to ask, what are your favorite original Game Boy games? Not advanced, not color, but some of your favorite original Game Boy games, and some Game Boy memories if you have any from when you were young. I have so many favorites. I'm a big Game Boy fan, but personal favorite of mine, one of my favorites here is Dr. Mario, great version on the Game Boy. So thanks for all the hard work you put in your videos, G, and best of luck to you.
Hey, Brian, great question, man. So, Game Boy memories. So, this is another thing that, I didn't have a Game Boy growing up. So, I don't really have a whole lot of childhood memories. I didn't get my Game Boy, and I didn't even have an original Game Boy, because I know that's your main question. It's like, original Game Boy. Not Game Boy Color, not Game Boy Advance. We didn't really have an original Game Boy. My first Game Boy was a Game Boy Pocket. Which, I guess you could kind of count on it, because it's not a color, it's still the same system. And it was Pokemon Red that I played in high school. And trust me, I remember one of my favorite memories was actually trading Pokemon, hiding in the back while I was in high school. Trading Pokemon. We had a little flashlight. I remember the Game Boy lights actually came on the side. Somebody else who didn't have the game used the light, pointed down at both of us while we were trying to hide in the corner while we were watching a movie. The teacher had actually fallen asleep, so we really didn't have to hide. Just playing and just trading Pokemon. Deep in the corner. We were just like, okay, can they catch us? Okay, what do you got? We trade. Yeah, that's okay. Actually, I guess I did have a Game Boy memory on that. Okay, nice. But yeah, what's my favorite OG Game Boy game? Now, this is going to be tempting, and I know you're probably going to laugh at this. Dr. Mario is pretty close. And I know you were probably going to ask me if I'm still a Dr. Mario god. If you were there at Arcade Expo, the answer is no. That was a nice fluke victory at Retropalooza that year, wasn't it? But it's not Dr. Mario. My favorite, I think, has to be Mega Man 5, aka Rockman World 5. Now, I don't have an original US copy of it, but I know that in your last video that you talked about Mega Man and Dr. Wily's Revenge on the Game Boy. I just really think that it's such a missed opportunity that Capcom hasn't ported any of these Game Boy games to anything else beyond the 3DS Virtual Console, because it's like, what happens when the Virtual Console goes down? We won't have anything. It's not on anything else. Capcom loves re-releasing and remaking things. Why not just make a compilation for the Switch of all the Game Boy games? Why not? It's like, seriously. Well, Rockman World 5, I think it's just because since it's the only, correct me if I'm wrong, it's the only original Mega Man game for the Game Boy. And I love the bosses, I love the stages on it. Tango the Cat, his one and only appearance. I thought, this is a great game. And it really did become my favorite Game Boy game by far. And it's just, unfortunately, the American version is a little too pricey for my blood. So I'm good on this. But yeah, I'd say that's my favorite Game Boy game. Definitely. Alright, last question. Not least, is from Carlsberg Review.
Hey, what up, G? It's Carly from Carlsberg Review here. Congratulations on 3K. That is absolutely amazing. And my question for you is, out of this entire journey, this whole experience so far, what is your absolute favorite memory out of the whole thing? I am curious to know, and I will continue to watch you as you grow, and I wish you all success in the future. Keep being awesome, G. I will see you later.
Hey, thank you so much, Carly. Man, that's a deep one. It's like favorite experience while going through my YouTube journey. And so I've been doing this now for 3 years. And just not hitting like 3,000 subscribers. It's just so humbling getting here in such a space of time. And there's so many memories. It's really hard for me to pick just one. Whether it be my first time actually appearing on a video, and whether it be my first time being a part of a gaming convention, whether it be meeting some of my favorite YouTubers and people that I actually look up to. There's so many that I could pick. But I would probably say my favorite is from Retropalooza 2018. Retropalooza Houston 2018. probably my favorite memory out of all this was I had the very first panel at Retropalooza. This is my first time being a guest at any convention on my own. And so, you know, as getting everything prepped and ready, you know what they always say. I'm going to use a Vince McMahon quote. You know, if you ain't the main event, you better be the opening act. And being the opening act for my very first convention as a solo guest is such an honor that I knew I had to knock it out of the park. And when I was going through and doing my panel, and I had the moment to where the lights were dimmed down, and everybody got a chance to see a sneak peek at my level 10 video, the one about Sega Genesis games that should have been on the Genesis Classics collection. The lights were dimmed, and you know, I'm kind of halfway paying attention, but starting in my head, I'm planning. And the cut's done, and the lights all turn back on, and I see the entire room is filled. There's even people standing up, and I'm just like, whoa. That was just a moment. And then I asked everybody, like, you know, what do you think? What are your thoughts? And then everybody started chanting, G, 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 G. I'm like, oh, I love y'all so much. You know, it was an incredible moment that I had to take a moment to compose myself to get back into the panel. I'm just like, oh, it's just incredible. And even to this day, when I go to panels and people chant G, 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 it hits me. Because I'm realizing that I'm really making a difference. And that's one of the biggest reasons why I love being on YouTube. And so now, 3,000 subscribers in, this is only the beginning. Sky is the limit. And that has to be my favorite memory. And I know more memories are going to come. And it's just, it's incredible. And thank you, Carly. And thank you to everybody here that has been watching, everybody that's given any sort of bit of pep talk, anybody that has been there through me, who've watched me rant about the Sega Genesis and about Sonic the Hedgehog, everybody that's just been there for me in this entire time. I cannot thank you all enough. It's like, seriously, from one fan to another, thank you so much. Seriously. So yeah, thank you all so much. This Q&A was incredible. And thank you all so much for the 3,000 subscribers. Like I said, this is only the beginning, folks. It's because of people like you that I am here today, and I'm here to continue to keep going. So thank you so much. But for those of you that have stuck to the end, I do have an announcement to make because it is due time. Many of you have been asking about it, and so I figured now that I've hit this mark, it's time to open it up. G to the next level is going Patreon. That's right. Patreon.com/G to the next level. I've decided now that I'm in the steady flow of content, and I feel that I can actually make it up to those of you. If you'd like to contribute to the channel, and it's completely optional, once again, can't stress that enough, completely optional. Exclusive blog content, extra Muse content, get your name actually appearing at the end of my credits. You can even help mold the treasure chest, help choose and vote on what games that I cover in my treasure chest. And every single bit of that actually helps the channel, whether it be to equipment, attending different conventions, so I can meet more of you, like every single thing that could help. But like I said, it's completely optional, but if you can, check it out, be extra awesome, patreon.com/G to the next level. And of course, I love you all so much, and for every little bit that you've done for me. Keep being awesome. I'm G, and I'll see you on the next level.